been teaching Japanese pronunciation and pitch accent for a few years now, and sometimes I get a question about whether pitch accent and tone are the same thing. So today, let's answer that question. Hi, my name is Sachi. I am a bicultural and bilingual Japanese language teacher and translator. I work primarily with professionals and academics to level up their Japanese language skills, mainly through teaching pronunciation and pitch accent and business Japanese. I also translate in the areas of koseki or Japanese family registries and disaster science. 皆さんこんにちは。心コミュニケーションズのサチです。今回は成長と肯定アクセントの類似点と相違点について簡単に英語で説明します。Okay, first things first. No matter what language it is, there's always some kind of flow when you speak it. Sometimes it comes from stress, like we have in English, for example, where we have stressed and unstressed syllables. And other times it comes in the form of changing pitch through tone or pitch accent. We use this flow in our speech to indicate changes in things like meaning, emphasis, emotion, and contrast. In this video, we will focus on tone and pitch accent. The most commonly used example of a tonal language might be Mandarin Chinese, but there are many other languages that are tonal, including but not limited to Punjabi, Yoruba, Cherokee, Vietnamese, Hmong, Thai, Igbo, and Cantonese. Essentially, what happens in these tonal languages is that each syllable in a word has a pitch contour assigned to them so that we can differentiate between sounds that may otherwise sound the same. Let's look at what might be the most commonly used example of tone in Mandarin with the one-syllable word ma. Mandarin has 5 tones, and depending on which one you use, the meaning can change completely. Using the first tone in Mandarin will result in the meaning for mother, the second one, hemp, third one, horse, and the fourth is scold. Using the 5th tone on this syllable makes it an interrogative particle, meaning that it's used to indicate that we're asking a question. I don't speak Mandarin, but they should sound something kind of like ma, 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 and ma. Pitch accent languages, on the other hand, usually have one syllable in the word that contrasts in pitch. So in tonal languages, basically every syllable has a different pitch pattern, whereas in pitch accent languages, there's basically just one pitch change in a word. Of course, this explanation is a little bit oversimplified, and different languages will exhibit these patterns in different ways. So if you want to learn about one specific language, please make sure to look up that specific language and how it works. Languages categorized as pitch accent languages include, but are not limited to, Japanese, Slovene, Ancient Greek, Turkish, Persian, Norwegian, Vedic Sanskrit, and Western Basque. Let's now take a look at how pitch accent works in common or standard Japanese. There are 2 pitches. They are high and low. These are relative pitches. They're not absolute pitches like we have in music. So high and low pitches are higher and lower than what came previously. There are 4 different pitch accent patterns in common Japanese. They are atamadaka, which means head high, nakadaka, which means middle high, odaka, which means tail high, and heiban, which means flat. When trying to figure out the pitch accent pattern for a word, we often want to take the particle that comes immediately after that word into consideration. Let's look at one example word per pattern. Ame ga. This is an atamadaka pattern where a is high and me is low. The particle ga is also low. Ame ga. Next word, ano hito ga. This is a nakadaka pattern where no is high and the rest are all low, including the particle. Ano hito ga. Hana ga. This is an odaka pattern where ha is low, na is high, and then the pitch drops again for the particle ga. Hana ga. Last one, sakura ga, is a heiban pattern where sa is low and ku da are high. In this pattern, the pitch of the particle is also high. Sakura ga. The accent part of pitch accent refers to the drop in pitch that occurs in words. And as you can see, only 3 of these 4 patterns actually have a drop in pitch, so this means that some words in common Japanese are categorized as accentless. These are the heiban words. If you want to sound like a native speaker or you want to use Japanese for work, I highly recommend that you put a little bit of extra effort into learning pitch accent. But if you're struggling with pitch accent, know that if you get it wrong, most people will understand what you're saying based on context. If you're looking for some additional resources to help with your pronunciation and pitch accent in Japanese, please check out the description down below. I've included some resources. All right, so let's review what we've discussed so far. In tonal languages, each syllable has a pitch contour assigned to them. So that means that one word will have multiple pitch changes. In pitch accent languages, words usually have one syllable that contrasts in pitch. In the case of Japanese, the accent in a word is the downstep in pitch from high to low, like we saw in ame ga. Both tone and pitch refer to changes in pitch in a word, which affects meaning, but each does this in a different way. Before we end this video, I do want to make this conversation a little bit more exciting by adding one more piece of information. There is an argument that pitch accent is a variation or subcategory of tone, but this idea isn't necessarily agreed on by all linguists. What are your thoughts about this argument? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and you would like more content like this delivered directly to you, please consider subscribing to this channel. And as I mentioned earlier, I've added some helpful links for you in the description below, so if you'd like to learn more about Japanese pronunciation and pitch accent, don't forget to check them out. では、最後までご視聴いただきありがとうございました。また次回お会いしましょう。